Hello, hi, my sweet angels. We're gonna start the moving vlog. I think that this is gonna be, it'll be a few different parts like always. I feel like specifically I'm gonna push together this week to be like moving vlog 1, and then we'll do moving vlog 2 while it's happening, and then so it'll be like the specific parts put together because I just feel like that's easier to watch than just like a bunch of scrambled days. Hopping in here, I need to refilm this. Looking back, my head was scrambled like eggs. All of the things I was trying to say or get out were just not working, and listening to it back, I want to redo it so that you get the information in a better way. So don't look at where I am. I haven't done a move in LA yet, so I thought I would go over just some of the few tips that I have, and hopefully that's helpful for any of you that have been curious. I know I get a lot of questions about like LA, especially in comparison to New York, but I haven't really gone over to how moving in LA has been. I was month to month on my apartment, just to give you a little bit of background information. Was slowly looking to move for a while. Like, I had my finger on the pulse for almost a year. I wanted to move into a cheaper spot. Rent has been, obviously you know this, everyone knows this, rent is just really high everywhere right now. So a lot of the places I was looking at were worse places, but for the same amount of money. And that just really felt like I was not gonna do that. That just made obviously no sense. So I was kind of waiting for some type of lull, hoping, waiting, praying for a lull to happen or to just get lucky and find an amazing cheaper spot. I did get lucky and find an amazing cheaper spot. I found my very first place I lived in on Zillow. Everything I've heard about Zillow is that Zillow is the most price extorted and worst place to look for an apartment. Obviously you can still use that as an option, but just to be wary that you're probably getting ripped off. It's better to avoid price extortion because then you're not paying it, and then there's, you know, it lowers the prices in theory for everyone if no one's wanting to pay the extorted prices. Obviously, not everything is possible in that clean of logic. However, whatever. If you can, I think it's, and for yourself and for the betterment of everyone. And then there's apartments.com and Westside Rentals. I found that those usually, I feel like the deals are better. They just seem slightly more affordable. The best option I've heard of is driving around in LA and driving through the neighborhoods or areas that you think that you would be willing to live or want to live, and looking for the rental signs, because a lot of places do that in LA. I had never heard of that in New York. It's obviously not a thing. And a lot of landlords, especially if they're like older or just, and so less tech savvy and they don't want to list it online, or they just don't want to deal with the hassle or whatever. I think a lot of those places usually are a lot more affordable. Obviously there's Craigslist. I've almost gotten scammed on Craigslist. That was years ago in New York, but it always left like a weird, scary taste in my mouth. I know people who have found amazing places on Craigslist though, however. And a friend of mine just found a place on Facebook Marketplace, and it was a really good price. So that's a thing as well. I've never used that personally. Also, if you're looking for roommates, I feel like the Facebook Marketplace community type of things like that are maybe areas that you can like move into, places looking to fill just rooms in houses and stuff like that. Knowing what I wanted, I think I said this in a previous video, I really was more than willing to give up indoor space for some outdoor space and significantly cheaper rent. And I really wanted like a mudroom activity room. And I wanted to have a landlord that was my direct landlord and not be owned by weird company, realtor agencies, stuff like that. And I did end up finding all of those things, which, look, I'm a believer in manifestation and prayers being answered. Something that's really helpful is obviously being vigilant about checking always, no matter if you're moving, just keeping your finger on the pulse to see what comes up, getting yourself in as fast as you possibly can to see the places. Most of the amazing scores I found in the past I've seen them. Either I was the first person or one of the first few people to see them. This one, I was the very first, and I made sure of that. Obviously, having a pretty flexible schedule is nice for house hunting. That's definitely a privilege, but yeah, just getting yourself in as fast as you can. And being ready to like go on it if you like it, being ready to fill out the application, send in your form so you get it in before anyone else. That just will give you a leg up. And as for this move, and then with moving, I did want to add this in because I do feel like your gut is a really good indicator on where you should live. I feel like any apartment I've ever lived in, I've had a very extreme visceral gut reaction of knowing and seeing like my life unfold there prior. I don't know if that's just myself, but I do think everyone kind of has a gut reaction or pull to places, or just like sensing a bad vibe and you don't know why. I feel like those are also important to listen to if you can. Moving in LA, I would show more of the apartment hunting. I saw a few places, I guess, over the few months, which I can insert some little clips here. But overall, I think I've just gotten pretty good of knowing exactly what I'm looking for and what's too expensive for what it is, what I need and for what I prioritize in an apartment. And so, yeah, there's a lot of places that I didn't just end up seeing, or yeah, this place kind of came up so fast and just happened to be the right one for me. So the movers I ended up using were really great. They're called Tom's Marathon Movers. They went above and beyond for me. I'm not sponsored at all. I paid for them, and they don't know I'm saying this, but I did just really like them. If you're looking for movers, I felt like their prices were really affordable and they really got a really precarious move done for me, and it was wild. You'll see that later. Yeah, that's pretty much everything. Enjoy the rest of the vlogs. I'm doing better now. I'm a little bit more settled in, so you're getting a little glimpse of the future. Yeah, so enjoy. Back to the past. You go. Off you go. As you can imagine, this is what most of my week looked like. A lot of packing, a lot of throwing things into bags, going through stuff. I had already done a lot of thinning out of my stuff, which I was very happy with my past self that I did that preemptively, because it did make my life a lot easier. Just so much boring stuff packing. And I went to IKEA to get IKEA bags, which are always coming clutch. Someone's about to come pick up this table, which is so sad to say goodbye to it. I'm like, I think this is a piece that I'm the most attached to. I didn't think I was gonna get rid of it for a while. Items are just items, and that's the truth. So the table did go to a nice home, which was amazing. Started taking everything off the walls, as you do. This was all of the stuff that I was just going back and forth and back and forth. This was just a load. It took me so long. I could have given the movers a lot more stuff, which in hindsight, I really wish I had. It took me so much time just by myself, going back and forth with loads in my car. There were a lot of reasons that I chose to do this. In the future, I know better. Just would have made a lot more sense if I let the movers just do all of it and handle it, but c'est la vie. DIY it. Just do it yourself. Okay, it's the day before the move. Everything is truly so chaotic. I don't remember if moving has always been this stressful or this one's just particularly stressful, but I feel very overwhelmed. Coming to pick up my bed frame. It doesn't fit in the new spot because my room is very small and I need every like inch around it that I can get, so I can't have like the excess wood. So this is the last time you're ever gonna see me take this apart, which feels sad. I feel like every moving vlog I've ever done, I always show me taking apart and putting this back together, but I feel like I haven't really spoken much throughout this because it's just been so stressful. It's just a lot to do on your own. I always forget or underestimate like just how much stuff is around me that needs to get moved. Movers are coming tomorrow. We almost had to move the date to the 31st. We still might because it's supposed to rain tomorrow, which is really not ideal because the path that you have to use to get back to the apartment is dirt, and so there's a possibility that it turns into mud. There's also a lot of back and forth and debacle over the road to get back there because it's kind of a very specific road. It just is kind of a mess, but I am trying to let go and just like know that it will get done. It's really hard. I feel like definitely sad. I feel like this month just got away from me. It's hard because it was like slow, and then everything at once, where now I'm kind of regretting, yeah, not soaking in the last bits of this apartment more. Not regretting, it just like makes me sad. Like this whole week I just haven't been able to go on my walks or just do any of the normal things that I do. I was thinking the other day while I was driving around just, you know, how losing things makes you suddenly appreciate them more, and how it is kind of nice to go through periods of change or like loss, like losing access to an old apartment or like old phase of my life reminds me to be more present and like take advantage of things while I have them at my fingertips. Like the proximity to certain things that I just like didn't use as much as I wanted to. Obviously all of these things are like shoulds and regrets, and you can't live your life that way, but I think there is a lesson in remembering to try to appreciate the things that you have in front of you when you have them and make the most of them. I still have like some things to do tonight, but I'm gonna try to go to bed somewhat early so I am not crazily tired tomorrow and grumpy. This week has been a hard one. PMS, also moving. It's the end of the year. That just like brings up a lot of feelings. It's also sad just to like go through another move alone, I think is a hard part of life. And I know I'll look back also on these moments and be like, wow, you were really just doing things on your own and whatever. And I know it's not like a permanent thing, but it is a little bit sad or like disheartening at times, I think. But trying to also stay grateful, stay like excited for what's to come, because I am really excited. And also I'm gonna take a bath because that's been really calming me down. I'm in bed. It's my last night. Feels sad. It is interesting how I feel like it gets easier every time to just let go of things, but it's hard not to be sad when you're kind of closing out a chapter. And I can't believe I'm not going to be able to come home to these walls anymore, or the smell of my house, or just like thinking about all the memories I had here are really special, especially like being my first place in LA. And there's something so significant about the last night, but then with moving, it's so stressful because I'm like, I can't even feel sad or like process it right now because I'm just so tired and I'm so anxious about tomorrow, and I'm so, yeah, just burnt out, fried. Feels weird. I'm gonna journal for a second. I'm watching High Fidelity as my comfort show. I'll still have access to this place for a few days into the new year, so I'll be able to tie up loose ends, clean, and get it all ready. So luckily it's not like the highest pressure situation, but it's still just feeling pretty overwhelming. And I'm like just anxious about what my new place will be like. Also, bed on the floor really reminds me of leaving New York. It's like I remember all my moving vlogs, and it's kind of poetic to be in the same places, but yet be at a very different place in life, you know? But you come back to the same moments, like having your bed on the floor the day before you move. Something comforting about that, actually. Need to drink water. I feel like my whole body's retaining water and is so puffy. I think it's because I'm stressed. I'm also waiting to get my period any day now, and body is just not at 100.